these funds to be kept track of separately from the general fund. They are presented, again, revenues and expenditures in very condensed form, back on pages 41 and 42. And the food service is one of those funds. And during the year, there was excess of expenditures over revenues of $76,000. That was after a transfer out over to the general fund for certain indirect overhead costs of $68,000. But you have zero fund balance left in that food service fund at June 30th of 11. Another series of funds that you have are going to be the debt retirement funds. And these, of course, rely on a millage that you levy on all the non-homestead and homestead property within the district in order to service the bonded indebtedness that you have. All of the debt retirement funds have positive balances. They have positive balances, keep enough in there so they can make the next principal and interest payment as they come due, because of the timing difference. Sometimes you don't receive the taxes until after that next payment is due. But all fund balances related to debt retirement funds is restricted for debt service. You can't transfer it back over to the general fund because it's dedicated to that future principal and interest payments. There are, you do have a capital projects fund, the 2001 capital projects fund. There's $124,000 in fund balance of that at the end of the year, June 30th of 11. While we're talking about the debt, there's a lot of footnotes related to elements of the financial statements, and maybe, talk about the debt service funds. We can look at the total long-term debt of the district. And on page 33 and 34 is kind of a summary of that debt. And I just want to point out kind of another positive thing within the district is you did not have any additional long-term borrowing during the year. As a matter of fact, you reduced the total long-term indebtedness, as I look on page 33 in the footnotes, which is a summary of the beginning balance. Most of that is the long-term bond indebtedness. Any adds and then deletions to come out with the ending balance. And overall, there was a net decrease in long-term indebtedness of around $900,000. That's after you had to have a borrowing from the school bond loan fund. But the bottom line is that there was a total net reduction in long-term indebtedness. That's pretty much an overview of the financial part of what we do. Because you receive over $500,000 worth of federal financial assistance, we are responsible for auditing your federal programs. Most of the districts in Michigan receive over that. It's called a single audit on those federal programs. And pages 45 and 46 actually it starts on page 43 through 46 is a summary of all the federal financial assistance. And this would include the National School Lunch Programs, Title I, the IDEA program. All of them collectively add to expenditures of about $4,808,000. Quite a lot of work that the auditors do, and I am the oversight lead principal on the team that does the audit. There's another three that come in and audit the financial and the single audit as we do in all our other districts. But there's a lot of compliance features that have to be adhered to with all these different programs. Eligibility, allowability of costs, cash management, and all of that. The reports that follow on pages 48 through 54 are all reports that are related to the single audit. And if there's any findings over those programs, they would be indicated in those reports. Well, the good news, and this is another positive thing in the district, there are no findings nor any question costs in those federal programs. So out of that $4,808,000 of federal financial assistance, which includes Title I, Special Ed Education, Title II, ERA Stabilization, as well as the EduJobs Fund, which is a new federal program during the year, as well as the Head Start. Those were all considered major programs, and we had to audit as major programs here at your district, which is quite a lot compared to other districts. It's on the high side, but well, all those programs, there are no findings related to that. In the prior year, there were several findings related to time reporting and that sort of thing, but we have corrected that during the year to our satisfaction, so they are not repeated comments this year. So that's another positive thing with the audit this year. That is pretty much an overview of the financial and the single audit that we do. There's a separate letter in the form of a management letter. It's called a communication with those charged with governance under Statement on Audit Standard number 114. The first 4 pages of this is pretty much standard language about what we do in an audit. We report on the fairness of your financial statements, of course. We also look at your key controls of your various systems. Cash receipts, both centrally and decentralized cash receipts. We look at the analytics, how that's collected, as well as the big dollars coming through the central office, payroll and purchasing, accounts payable. Make sure that the key controls are operating effectively. And in attachment A that follows those first 4 pages would be any internal control matters that come to our attention. And this year, there's really not much in the way of internal control matters, because in the previous year you've corrected certain enhancements that we recommended in the prior year regarding athletic receipts as well as food service receipts by having 2 people involved in the process of somebody counting and another person verifying it, the document that they look at to make sure the Z-out total on those reports agree with the amount deposited with the central office. So that type of thing, those were corrected during the year, and you're left pretty much with just an informational point about something that we are recommending for all of our districts, and that is something that's come down from the federal government, that they are putting pressure on the Michigan Department of Education to have districts that receive federal dollars, which is probably 95% of the districts in Michigan, that they should have policies and procedures in written form in 14 different areas. Now this is the Michigan Department of Education interpretation saying this to districts and audit firms, saying that if a district does not have that, which most districts do not have those type of things in written form, that they should get them in written form to be able to receive federal dollars in the future. So this is kind of new, and we are simply just urging the district to get those policies in writing here in the year that we're in right now. And so a lot of districts are in the process of doing that. They're getting with their policy writing company, or they're getting it some other way. We've been involved with other districts who have got that. And, you know, if you could borrow on somebody that already has done it, just tailor it